say, and we'll stay here forever.
Dudes and ladies, if you're watching, welcome to me learning more Korean, which is going to be fun, I think. I took a little break from learning the language because I needed to focus on some other things at the time. But I had a little bit of time today to do so, so why not just jump in? All right, so we're on lesson number 21 of level number 1, and we're going to be looking at negative sentences. Now, what I am pulling from is talktomeinkorean.com. I highly recommend you go to that site. They're really good. I've also used Rosetta Stone in the past. I feel that they both complement each other, and use both, use one. Talk to Me Korean is cheaper. It's free or pay however you want. I decided that since I'm an artist, I appreciate other people's artwork, be it either teaching or music or dancing or math, whatever. We all need to make a living. Anyways, this is available on talktomeinkorean.com. So first off, what we're going to do is we're going to listen to the podcast of lesson number 21. They're going to go through pretty much everything here. Then we're going to review it on the PDF, and we're going to move on. And once I finish all 25 lessons of level 1, I'm going to start studying to take the test for level 1. So here we go. Let's listen in.
안녕하세요, 선현우입니다. Hello
안녕하세요.
everyone, Hyunho-sun here, and you're listening to talktomeinkorean.com.
Get your notes out.
And today, yay, Kyunghan is not here.
What?
Yay!
No, she's pretty.
Who are you?
I'm not Kyunghan, obviously.
Okay, obviously.
Mhm.
Apparently you're not Kyunghan. If you were, I would not be here. Just kidding. So, sadly, Kyunghan couldn't make it today. Kyunghan is
Sad.
not here, but I'm happy that you're here to join me for this lesson. So, Hyojin, please introduce yourself briefly for our listeners.
Hello, I'm Hyojin, and I'm here to help you study Korean.
And she is going to help me, or she's going to save our listeners from my helpless bad jokes, right?
Fingers
Please, you have
crossed.
some.
Okay, fingers
Yeah,
crossed.
you have
So
some bad
today,
jokes.
Hyojin, you said you would be
You got
helping
some
me
bad
out
jokes.
with this lesson in which we'll be talking about how to make negative sentences in Korean.
Yes.
Negative sentences in Korean is 부정문.
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 부정문. So 부정하다 is to negate, and 문 is a sentence. So 부정문 is a negative sentence. So we're going to be making a lot of 부정문 today. I'm not a very particularly negative person.
Are you sure?
I am sure. But in this lesson, I'll be saying a lot of negative things. Well, not negative things, but just negative sentences.
something
so
negative to say.
there are
Your
two
mother's
ways to
fat.
make a sentence into
I
a
don't know how to say it
negative
in
form,
Korean.
right?
Yes.
And one is,
Adding an before a verb.
yeah, an is
My
your family
last
name.
Yeah.
Is that why you're here? You're Hyojin An. So just to remind our listeners that they have to add this an to their sentences to make negative sentences.
But
This-
still, I'm Hyojin.
Yeah, but you're Hyojin An, so you're
Yeah.
here to add an to the lesson. Okay.
Let's leave it at that and move
Alright.
on to the second one.
Okay, so the first one was adding an before a verb, and the second method is
using the negative verb ending 지 않다.
지 않다.
지 않다.
So let's look at method number one
지않다.
first.
안.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
지않다.
So this
Yeah.
method, which is adding an before a verb, is quite simple, and it is more colloquial and easier, right?
Then method number 2.
Yeah, method number 2, which is using the negative verb ending.
지않다.
So let's look at some examples. So
Okay.
what you do is when you have a sentence, for example, how do you say to go in Korean?
가다.
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 Oh, wait. Hyojin,
Wait.
That's
what was
not
that?
Yeonjin's voice.
don't you think you heard Kyunghan's voice?
That's Kyunghan.
She's not
Yeah.
here. She's...
I think it was Kyunghan's voice.
It's creepy.
It's creepy. She's everywhere.
Or she's maybe in our head.
She's haunting us.
So sound
Well,
clip you
anyway,
played, bro.
let's
We know what
move
it is.
on.
Move on.
So to
These
go
jokes are
is...
bad.
가다.
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 And how do you say I go home?
집에 가요. 집에 가요.
So you have a
가요.
sentence like this. Hyojin, what do you do to make it a negative sentence, which will probably mean I am not going home or I don't go home?
I would add 안 before 가다 or 가요.
And what would it become?
집에 안 가요.
집에 안
집에
가요.
안 가요.
집에
Yeah,
안
집에
가요.
안
I'm not
가요
going
instead
home.
of 집에 가요.
집에
So you just
home,
added
안
an
가요.
there and it became again.
집에 안 가요.
집에 안 가요.
집에 안 가요.
And you can
집에
even
안
make it
가요.
into a question form and say,
집에 안 가요?
yeah, just by
집에 안
raising the
가요?
end of
You're
the
not going
sentence,
home?
you say,
집에 안
you're
가요.
not going home or you don't go home.
집에 안 가요?
As you can see, the form 가요, which is the present tense, basically covers a wider range of tenses than the English verbs do. So it can mean you're not going home, like near future, or you don't go home, which is something that is happening generally. So let's look at another example. How do you say to throw something away? To throw away.
버리다.
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 And how
버리다.
about in the past tense? Threw it away. I threw it away.
버렸어요.
Or I
버렸어요.
threw that away.
그거 버렸어요.
그거 버렸어요.
그거 버렸어요.
그거
And
버렸어요.
Hyojin, what would you do to make this sentence a negative sentence?
Again, I would add 안, which is my family name. Again, before 버리다 or 버렸어요.
And it becomes
그거 안 버렸어요.
그거 안 버렸어요. 안
그거
버렸어요.
안
안,
버렸어요.
안.
그거 안
안
버렸어요.
버렸어요.
And if you want to say, for example, I didn't throw it away yet.
그거 아직 안 버렸어요.
그거
아직
안지?
안 버렸어요. So the
안지
word
안
for
버렸어요.
yet or still is
아직,
아직.
아직.
So 아직 안, sometimes they go together
안.
with each other.
하면
So
yet.
아직 안. So
아직
not
안.
yet.
그거 아직 안 버렸어요.
그거 아직 안 버렸어요.
그거 아직
그거 아직 안 버렸어요.
그거
Well,
안지
Hyojin, that
안
wasn't really
버렸어요.
difficult, was it?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, right. It
No.
was very, very simple. If you can make any Korean sentence or if you see any Korean sentence and if you can figure out which is the verb, you add an in front of it and it becomes something that has the negative meaning or something that has the opposite meaning of the original sentence, right?
Don't forget my family name.
Which is,
안.
and your
An.
full name is,
안효진.
or
안효진.
효진 안.
Hyojin An.
효진 안.
An Hyojin.
안효진 안.
So does that mean that you're not Hyojin?
Okay.
Stop with
Okay,
these jokes, man.
let's forget
Stop.
that.
Stop these jokes.
Hyunwoo, so why don't we just
They're not good.
give the examples for the method number 2?
Okay, that's a good idea. Let's look at some examples using method number 2. And method number 2 for making negative sentences in Korean is,
adding 지 않다.
one more time,
지 않다.
지 않다.
지 않다.
On a side note, this anta part comes from 아니 하다. So it used to be a longer word, but now it is anta.
지
So
않다.
just remember it as anta, okay? 지 않다.
지 않다.
Okay, now let's try using this verb
That's
ending.
true.
But by now, some of our listeners might be wondering, what is the difference between using an and using this verb ending 지 않다? And if using 지 않다 is more complicated, it is more difficult, why use 지 않다 at all? So to explain a little bit, using this verb ending 지 않다 is usually for a little more formal situations, but not always, right?
So the method number 1 is more simple and more colloquial, and method number 2 is relatively formal but not necessarily only for formal situations.
Great. But usually when you talk to friends, which way do you make negative sentences?
Method number 1.
Yeah. But still, although it is more common to use an rather than 지 않다, it is still good to know how to use 지 않다, and when you come across it, it is good to be able to understand what it means. So let's look at some examples. So let's look at the verb to go again. What is to go?
가다. 가다.
가다.
가다.
I think by now, not a single listener of our podcast does not know what 가다 means
가다,
because
to
we've
go.
covered it so many
They do,
times in
they
the
use it
past.
a lot.
So 가다
가다.
again is to go. And how do you say to not go?
가지 않다. 가지 않다.
So that was the verb stem 가 plus 지 않다. So it became 가지 않다. How about the present tense? What if I want to say I don't go or I'm not going?
가지 않아요.
가지 않아요.
가지 않아요.
So the last part anta is conjugated the same way as the other verbs in Korean. So it became 지 않아요. So I don't go is
가지 않아요.
가지 않아요.
가지 않아요.
Again, this is very, very formal, right, Hyojin?
Yes, but I would never say 가지 않아요 to anyone. I
Exactly.
would say 안 가요.
Actually, you would say 가지 않습니다. Of course, this is on a side note, but if you say 가지 않습니다, you're going all the way up to the most honorific and polite form of speech. So 가지 않습니다 is even more natural than 가지 않아요 because 가지 않아요 is not so polite, not so formal, but still you're using this 지 않다 form, so you're kind of hanging in the middle of nowhere. So 가지 않아요 sounds awkward,
Yes.
at least in real life conversations, at least between you and me, right?
Yeah, I say 안 가 to you
Oh,
without yo.
okay.
Okay.
We're gonna have a private discussion about that later. Okay.
More
after the
examples, please.
Okay, so I hope you've got that by now. You add 지 않다 after the verb stem, and let's look at one more verb. So throw away was
버리다.
버리다,
버리다.
and the verb stem is 버리 after you take out the 타. So 버리 plus 지 않다 is
버리지 않다.
버리지 않다.
버리지 않다.
To not throw away. And if I want to make it into the present tense, of course, I don't throw it away is
버리지 않아요.
버리지 않아요.
버리지 않아요.
And in the past tense, I didn't throw it away is
버리지 않았어요.
버리지 않았어요.
버리지 않았어요.
Now, if you compare 가지 않았어요 or 버리지 않았어요 to 안 갔어요 or 안 버렸어요, you see that 안 갔어요 or 안 버렸어요 are much more simple, much easier to say, much quicker to say, right?
And much more used.
So, Hyojin, how about we have a look at some short sample dialogues using this word 안?
안.
Okay?
Remember, it's my family name.
Yes.
your family name.
It's your family name. Got it.
So let's look at some dialogues. But
Okay.
before we do, Hyojin, please tell me or our listeners one thing that you don't do as an example in Korean. Of course, I know that you don't do 공부, you don't do 청소, you don't do many things. I know.
Okay, I will give you one more secret. I
Alright.
don't take a shower.
Oh. Oh,
I'm
no.
the one
Stay
who
away.
smell now.
stay away from me.
샤워를
No.
안 해요.
샤워를 안 해요?
네,
샤워를
no
안
shower,
해요?
no bath.
I know you're
Gross.
just talking about an example.
As an example.
Gross.
Okay,
그렇잖아요.
okay. 다행이에요. Good to know. So, why don't we get into the dialogues?
Okay.
Good.
아파요?
안 아파요.
안 아파요. I'm
안
not hungry.
아파요? 진짜 안 아파요?
안 아파요.
안 먹어요?
안 먹어요.
정말 안 먹어요? 맛있어요.
안 먹어요. 배 안 고파요.
안 먹어요? No, I'm not hungry. 먹어요? Hungry.
이거 매워요?
아니요, 안 매워요.
진짜 안 매워요?
네, 안 매워요.
Okay, those were interesting mini dialogues, I think,
And I hope our listeners understood what's going on
in the dialogues.
Nope.
And if you don't, you can always go to the sidebar
did
of this
not.
lesson and download the PDF file
I
and
feel
open it up, and
stupid.
you'll see the translation for the dialogues. And if you subscribe to our podcast through iTunes, you will probably have it in your computer already. So open up the PDF file and you'll see the translation for the dialogues. And Hyojin, I think it'll be helpful if our listeners try making some sample sentences of their own.
Exactly.
What do you think?
I think that's the only way they can improve
Exactly.
their own skill.
Exactly. So come to talktomeinkorean.com, and in the comment box below the lesson post, please try making some sample sentences. But when you do, there are two words that don't follow these rules that we just introduced. And what are they, Hyojin? One is
있다.
있다, which means to be or to exist or to have. And if it doesn't become 안 있다 or 있지 않다, what does it become?
없다.
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 To not exist,
없다.
to not have, to not be. And
있다,
actually,
없다.
we've already covered this
There's a
word
difference, bro.
in our
없다.
previous lessons. So, 있다 versus 없다. And there's another word that doesn't follow the rule, which is
알다.
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 알다 is to know, and if you don't know something, in Korean there's a separate independent word for it, which is
모르다.
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 And the conjugation of 모르다 is quite interesting too. When you say it in the present tense, 모르다 becomes
몰라요. 몰라요.
몰라요.
몰라요.
몰라요.
몰라요.
효진, 뭐를 몰라요? What do you not know?
The world.
Oh,
I don't know the world. I am a naive little girl.
okay.
They don't see my
Chow
face.
knives.
So I can say anything I want to say.
Didn't you
Nice
know
job.
that we post a picture of everybody on the show every time there's an update on our site?
몰랐어요.
You didn't know about it. Okay.
No.
몰랐어요.
If you're nice to me today, maybe I won't post a photo of you.
IPL. 몰랐어요.
Let's go for dinner together. What do you want to eat?
Is it on you?
Yes.
It's your treat?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. So everyone, we'll see you next time. And next time, Kyungeun will be back. Not just her voice haunting us. So everyone, see you at talktomekorean.com.
Bye. Nice meeting you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
안녕히
계세요.
계세요.
안녕히 계세요.
안녕히 계세요. Okay. So it does it for the podcast of Lesson 21. Follow along. Listen to the native speaker is very important when you're learning a language. So let's read together. In this lesson, we're going to have a look at how to make negative sentences in Korean. There are mainly two ways to do this. I thought that said many ways to do this. It's like, why? Why should there be more than one way to say no? But in the dating world, there's plenty of ways to say no. Like, oh, I can't go. I'm washing my hair. I have to babysit. I have family in town. Guess what, guys? That's how women say no. Okay. So how to make negative sentences in Korean. First step, adding an. That's a symbol for an before a verb. And it's on, the O sound is almost like a silent progenitor. And then you have the ah, which is a line and the dash. And the n sound is the line below. That makes on. Learning the alphabet is pretty handy. Learning Korean. I can read most things. I'm a little bit rusty now because I haven't practiced in a week or two. But on. Okay, simple enough. That goes before the verb. Or use the negative verb ending, which is jianta. The G is that first symbol. And the an, which, again, I don't know why it has that symbol with the small line, the longer line, and the O, moving that into a da sound, because the da is the C-looking symbol in the line with the dash. Can't argue semantics of the language. Just you got to accept things how they are and move on. It's the same thing with English. Phone, P-H-O-N-E. Pajone is how the Spanish say it, but it's phone. Accept it, move on. Method number 1 is more simple and more colloquial. And method 2, colloquial. What does that mean? Does it mean condensed or flows better? That's how I would present it in this context. Method number 1 is more simple and more colloquial, and method number 2 is relatively formal, but not necessarily only for formal situations. Okay? If you want to use method number 1 and add on before a verb, it's easier than method 2 because you don't have to worry about the different tenses of your sentences. The word on doesn't change the tense. So for simplicity, we're going to go with on. We're going to check both of them. Gada to go. All right? Jeep. Okay, I'm going to try to read these without looking at the English translation. Jeep. Chipe chayo. Chipe gallo. Not chayo, gallo. Colloquial just means it's what you're more likely to hear out on the street. Arnfasta, thank you for that tidbit of knowledge. Okay, Jibe gallo. Jibe gallo. We all know chipe. Cheap. Is it cheap or cheapa? Chipe. It's house. Chipe gallo. I'm going home. I go home. Chipe gallo. Where you going, dude? Chipe gallo. I'm going home, buddy. Why are you asking me? All right. Chipe an gallo. Chipe an gallo. Chipe an gallo. I'm not going home. I don't go home. Chipe gallo. I'm going home. Chipe an gallo. Chipe an gallo. You're not going home. You don't go home. It's 11 o'clock at night. Borida. 버리다. 버리다. To throw away. 버리다. 그거 버리소요. 그거 버렸어요. 버리요. 버리었어요. 그거 버렸어요. I threw it away. 그거 버렸어요. 그거 안 버렸어요. 그거 안 버렸어요. I didn't throw it away. 그거 아직 안 그거 아직 안 버렸어요. 그거 아직 안 버렸어요. 그거 아직 안 버려. 그거 아직 안 버려. 으라. 그거 아직 안 버렸어요. 그거 아직 안 버렸어요. So let's go slowly. 그거 안 버렸어요. 그거 아직 안 버렸어요. 버렸어요. 그거 아직 버렸어요. I didn't throw it away yet. It's a mouthful. Examples using method number 2, adding gianta. Gianta is a basic form, and you need to conjugate it according to the tense too. Present tense, giannayo. Whoa, that's a super yawn. Past tense. Gianasoyo. Present tense, gianayo. Past tense, gianasoyo. Anasoyo. You can apply the same verb conjugating rules as for the other verbs. Gada, to go. Gaji anta. Gajianta, to not go. Gaji anayo. Gaji anayo. I don't go. I'm not going. To not go. Goji anayo. Gaji anayo. Gaji anasoyo. Goji anasoyo. I didn't go. Borida, to throw away. Borida. Borichi anta. Borichi anta, to not throw away. The solid verb form. Borianta. Borichi anta. Borichi anayo. I don't throw it away. Borichi anasoyo. Past tense, anasoyo. I didn't throw it away. Oh, it's starting to click in my mind. It's starting to click in my mind, man. That's such a cool feeling when you learn things. It starts to make sense. Very short sample dialogues. Apayo. Apayo. Does it hurt? Does it hurt? Yes, it hurts. Apayo. Does it hurt? Anapayo. It doesn't hurt. Anapayo. Anapayo. Cha, this heavy cha sound. Chincha anapoyo. Chincha anapoyo. Okay, let's look at the English. Anapoyo, chincha, anapoyo. Yeah, it doesn't hurt. It really doesn't hurt. Anapoyo, it doesn't hurt. Anapoyo. Okay. Mogoyo. You're not going to eat. Mogoyo. I'm not eating. Not eating. Chong mal an 먹어요? 정말 안 먹어요? 맛있어요. 맛있어요. 정말 안 먹어요? 정말 안 먹어요? 맛있어요. You're not going to eat? It's delicious. 맛있어요. 맛있어요. That's another word I gotta use in restaurants. 맛있어요. 맛있어요. 불고기 맛있어요. Bulgogi is delicious. 아빠요. Instead of 안 먹어요. 부 be ba what's this buy 안 go 봐요. buy 안 go 봐요. 안 go 봐요. I'm not eating, I'm not hungry. Level 1, lesson 21. Sample dialogue 3. 이게 뭐예요? No. 매워. Alright, look at the 이거 뭐요? Pear. 바. 이거 마워요? 마워요? Is it spicy? 아니요. 안 마워요. No, it's not spicy. 진짜 안 마워요? 매워요? Like it's Mayday. Like Mayday? Okay. 매워요? 진짜 안 매워요? 네. 안 매워요. No, it's not spicy. And I'm not looking at the English translation until after. I'm looking at the Korean letters to sound those out. All right, maybe I'm taking a little glance here and there, but not all the time. Okay. You want to move on to lesson 22? I think so. Say a quick commercial break. We come back. More learning Korean with Clutch.
He shows the most potential to lead LA into a more sustainable and confident future. With those words, the LA Times endorses Eric Garcetti, calling him the best choice for mayor. Eric Garcetti for mayor. Problem solver. Proven results.
Welcome back from a quick commercial break. So we're going to move into lesson number 22, verbs. We're going to listen to the podcast, and then we're going to dive into this lesson here. So let's go ahead and open it up.
안녕하세요.
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 Hello everyone, this is
Hello.
경은.
Hello, Kim.
And hello everyone. This is Hyunho-sun, and you're listening to Talk to Me in Korean.
Wake up a California license.
Today
Yeah.
we're going to talk about some verbs.
Verbs 동사.
동사. Again,
동사.
동사 is a verb, and in the word 동사, the part 동 means movement, moving. So, 경은, how do you say movement or a move in Korean?
동작이요. 동작.
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 So when you do a dance move, that's also a 동작, right?
Yeah, right?
So all the dancers out there, if you want to say a move in Korean, it is 동작.
동작.
But today we're not talking about 동작 here.
We are talking about 동사.
동사. Okay, verbs. But we're not talking about all the verbs in Korean. There are many different types of verbs in Korean, but today we're talking about these 하다 verbs. 하다.
하다.
경은, what does 하다 mean?
To do?
To do.
Yes.
And in some of our previous lessons, we talked about how Korean verbs are conjugated. For example, in lesson number 16, we talked about how you can change a dictionary form of a verb into the present tense.
And in lesson number 17, we learned how to make the past tense.
Exactly. And in both of those lessons, we talked about how the verb 하다 is followed by the verb ending 여, something something.
So, for example, when you want to make a present tense sentence, 하다's verb stem is 하, and it is followed by 여유, so it becomes 해요.
해요.
Heyo!
하여요 becomes 해요.
하여요
And in
becomes
the past tense, if you look at the verb stem again, it's 하, and it is followed by 였어요, so it becomes 하였어요, and it eventually turns into 했어요.
했어요.
So we learned already how to make 해요 and 했어요 when you want to say I do, I am doing, or I did something. And we also mentioned that this verb 하다 is a very, very powerful verb, almost as powerful as 경은.
You think so?
Yeah. You're kind of powerful, right?
Yeah, right. I'm a strong woman, mentally powerful, not physically.
Okay. I was referring to the physical side of your strength.
No.
Well, anyway, let's talk about how and why this verb 하다 is powerful and sometimes, well, actually, always very, very useful.
Okay, so tell us why 하다 is so powerful.
Okay, well, the reason that we say that 하다 is very useful and versatile is because many of the Korean nouns that indicate or describe some kind of action or behavior can be combined with 하다. And if you put those nouns together with 하다, they become verbs.
And it's very easy.
Yeah, so I think it's best if we look at some examples.
네, 좋아요.
All right, so if you look at the PDF of this lesson, we've picked 15 nouns.
네, 15개를 골랐어요.
네, 15개, 15 of them.
15개.
And all of these words are nouns, and by adding 하다 after each noun, you can make the verb form of each of these words. So let's look at example number 1. This is my favorite activity, my biggest hobby, something that I want to do for a living.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is 공부.
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 공부 means studying. It's a noun. So by adding 하다 after that, what does it become?
It becomes 공부하다.
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 And how do you say I study? I am studying?
공부해요.
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 How about I studied?
Heyo.
공부했어요.
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 Okay, we've looked at the noun form, which is,
공부.
and the verb form.
공부하다.
Again, you can make it just by adding 하다 after 공부, and we've looked at the present tense
공부해요.
and the past tense.
공부했어요.
Okay, so why don't we do the same thing with the rest of the words?
오케이, 좋아요.
좋아요?
네.
해볼까요?
네.
Okay, number 2. Work, job.
일. 일.
And how do you say to work?
You can add 하다 and it becomes 일하다.
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 If you say it quickly,
일하다.
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 Okay, how do you say I am working or I work?
일해요.
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 So usually, Kyunghan, if I call you on a Tuesday and if I call you around 3 o'clock in the afternoon and I ask you, what are you doing? 뭐 해요? What would you say?
I would say 일해요.
일해요.
일해요. Or I would say 지금 일해요.
Oh, you're working now.
Yeah, right.
Okay, and then how about the past tense?
일했어요.
I worked, you worked.
일했어요.
Okay.
일했어요.
Number 3, how do you say memory in Korean?
기억.
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 And how do you say to remember, the verb form of the word?
기억하다.
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 If you say it quickly,
기억하다.
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 Present tense?
기억해요.
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 A question?
기억해요?
기억해요.
기억해요?
And in the past tense?
기억했어요.
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 Well, this sounds a little bit unnatural. 기억했어요.
Yeah, right.
It would have to be a very specific situation in order for you to say this, 기억했어요. But still, it's good to know how the present tense and the past tense work. And the next example is cleaning.
청소.
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 And what's the verb?
청소하다. 청소하다.
To clean.
청소하다.
형은
네.
집에서
네.
at home,
Yes.
do you clean every day? Do you clean your house every day? 매일 청소해요?
Every day. 매일이요?
네.
아니요.
안 해요?
네, 안 해요.
네,
매일은 안 해요.
매일은 안 해요?
네, 매일은 안 해요.
You do clean your house, but not every day.
네.
매일은 안 해요.
현우 씨는요? 매일 청소해요?
Of course.
정말요?
Yeah.
믿을 수 없어요.
믿어요. 좀. Okay. And the past tense is
청소했어요.
청소했어요.
어제는 청소했어요.
Yesterday.
네.
As for yesterday, you did clean the house.
네.
But still, you don't have any proof.
오케이.
Okay.
Clean my house,
Next
woman.
word. Cooking or a dish.
요리.
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 And what is the verb?
요리하다.
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 Present tense?
요리해요.
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 Past tense?
요리했어요.
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 Okay. Example number 6. Moving into a new house.
이사.
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 Number 2 and number 4.
Yeah, right.
이사.
이사.
Many of the moving companies, moving agencies have this phone number.
Yeah, right.
Like the last 4 digits of their phone numbers would be 이사 이사.
Yeah, 2424.
2424. You will notice that as soon as you move to Korea and you look for some moving agencies. Okay? And what's the verb?
이사하다.
To move into a different house.
이사하다.
Present tense?
이사해요.
Past tense?
이사했어요.
Okay. Number 7. A song.
노래.
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 How about to sing?
노래하다.
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 How about I sing, you sing, he sings, she sings?
노래해요.
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 The birds sing.
새들이 노래해요.
And in the past tense?
노래했어요.
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 경은, when you go to a 노래방, do you
Yeah.
sing? 노래해요?
노래하는 거 싫어해요.
You don't like singing?
네.
Oh.
See, I understood
노래
the on
못해요.
when she
I
said that, but
thought
she didn't
one day
sing.
you would sing for our listeners.
It's clicking.
No. 싫어요.
I'll make you sing.
No,
One
no,
day.
no.
Okay, number 8. Effort.
노력.
노력.
Audio.
노력.
And the verb?
노력하다.
To make an effort to try hard.
노력하다.
노력하다.
Audio.
노력하다.
Present tense?
노력해요. 노력해요.
Past tense?
노력했어요. 노력했어요.
And number 9. Agreement or agreeing.
동의.
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 And what is the verb?
동의하다.
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 Present tense?
동의해요.
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 Well, it means I agree, but in a very formal way of saying it. I agree. 동의합니다. 동의해요.
동의해요.
Well, in a more casual conversation, you would say, 네, 그래요. Or 같은 생각이에요.
네, 같은 생각이에요.
Or 저도 그렇게 생각해요.
네, 맞아요.
Things like that. Just in case you want to know. And in the past tense,
동의했어요.
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 I agreed, he agreed,
동의했어요.
they agreed, she agreed, you agreed. Okay, number 10, the act of admitting something or acknowledgement.
인정.
인정,
인정.
인정. And the verb,
인정하다.
to admit.
인정하다.
인정하다. And if I want to say, yeah, it was my fault, I admit it, or it was your fault, you have to admit it, how would I say, I admit, or you admit, or she admits?
인정해요.
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 And in the past tense,
인정했어요.
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 It sounds like you're angry. I
Yeah.
admitted it, so don't talk about it again. Don't bring that up.
Yeah, right. Like that. 인정해요. 인정했어요.
So don't bring that up again in front of me or something like that.
Okay.
인정했어요. 인정해요.
인정해요.
Yeah. What do you admit?
For I don't know.
Me being the more popular among
Okay,
the
what's
co-hosts?
the number 11?
Okay, 11 is regret.
후회.
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 The verb?
후회하다.
To regret.
후회하다.
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 What if you want to say, I regret?
후회해요.
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 It's 후회해요. So the pronunciation is a little bit tricky. But if you say it really quickly, what does it become, 경은?
후회해요.
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 후회해.
Weheyo, six pull, weheyo.
후회해요.
There
Hitman
are
six pull,
three
weheyo.
Yeah.
Hitman
there.
six pull, weheyo.
H there.
Why did he
Yeah,
do
it's
it?
a
후회해요.
little bit difficult to pronounce.
Yeah, try not to pronounce it as 후회해요. Okay? And the past tense,
후회했어요.
후회했어요.
후회했어요. 운동했어요.
Number 11, exercise.
운동.
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 Oh, there's this word again, 동 there.
Yes.
운 is to drive or to move, and 동 means to move. So 운동 is a lot of moves. 운동, exercise, working out. And the verb is
운동하다.
to exercise, to
운동하다.
work out.
운동하다.
경은, do you work out? 운동해요?
운동했었어요.
Oh, you used to work out.
했었어요.
Like a
1년
year
전에?
ago. Yeah, 1년 전에?
네.
Year ago. I remember you going to swimming pools
Yeah.
every morning.
Yeah.
I didn't believe you, but you said so.
진짜 운동했어요.
Oh, you really worked out?
Yeah, right.
Okay,
진짜로.
I'll believe you. Okay, so that was the past tense covered. And number 13, love.
사랑.
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 To love,
사랑하다.
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 And I believe when it comes to the present tense, I think you have something you want to say to our listeners.
Yes. 여러분 사랑해요.
Oh, everyone, if you want to say the same thing to me or 경은, please leave a comment right away.
Don't say 사랑했어요. Don't say to me.
So everyone, don't tell her that you used to love her because it means no more, no longer.
네,
Okay?
맞아요.
Number 14, words or language.
말.
And to speak,
말하다.
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 Again, it's 말하다, but when you say it quickly, it becomes
말하다.
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 In the present tense,
말해요.
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 You can say the same thing to someone that is hesitating to say something, and you can say, speak, say it, tell me.
말해요.
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 Yeah, and in the past tense,
말했어요.
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 I told her, I told him, I told them.
말했어요.
Okay, and the last example is something that you have in abundance, right? You have a lot of 생각 usually.
네, 맞아요. 생각이 많은 여자예요.
Oh, you're a girl with a lot of ideas, a lot of thoughts.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so thought or idea is
생각.
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 And the verb is
생각하다.
to think.
생각하다.
And I think, she thinks, they think, he thinks.
생각해요.
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 And the past tense,
생각했어요.
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 Well, I guess that's it.
No, that's not it. You forgot to mention something very important.
All right, what is that?
Everyone, do you remember how to make negative sentences?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you didn't like
Gianta.
negative sentences.
Yeah, I didn't like it, but we have to practice.
Okay. So this is going to be really simple. Before we wrap up the lesson, let's look at how you can form negative sentences using these verbs that are made by adding 하다 to nouns. So if you think about it, all these verbs that we talked about are combinations of nouns plus 하다, and this 안 is actually very strong. And whenever you want to use this word 안 inside a sentence using these verbs, the word 안 breaks into the gap between the noun and 하다. And it separates the noun and 하다 away.
Yeah, right. So, for example, 공부하다 becomes 공부 안 하다.
And 일하다 becomes,
일 안 하다.
see how you have to say 안 between the noun and the verb 하다 when you want to make a negative sentence out of it. So 기억하다 becomes,
기억 안 하다.
청소하다, to clean becomes
청소 안 하다.
to not clean. And how about I cook?
요리해요.
And I don't cook.
요리 안 해요.
And how about I am moving?
이사해요.
And I am not moving.
이사 안 해요.
The same thing applies to all the other verbs. So let's quickly go over them. 노래해요 becomes,
노래 안 해요.
and 노력해요,
노력 안 해요.
동의해요,
동의 안 해요.
인정해요.
인정 안 해요.
I don't admit, I can't admit. And how about I have no regrets, I'm not regretting? How do you say that?
후회 안 해요.
후회 안 해요.
후회 안 해요.
And just like 경은, everyone, if you don't work out at all, you can say
운동 안 해요.
운동 안 해요.
운동 안 해요.
And if you want to say I don't love you,
Oh, it's so sad. 사랑 안 해요.
사랑 안 해요.
사랑 안 해요.
And if you have a secret that you don't want to tell anyone, you can say
말 안 해요.
I'm not going to tell you.
말 안 해요.
And this last one is quite sad too. To say, I mean.
Yeah, right.
Say it. for me.
생각 안 해요.
생각 안 해요.
생각 안 해요.
I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, there will be
맞아요.
some situations where you have to say, I
Yeah.
don't think about it, or, not just, I don't think at all. Okay, in this lesson, we've looked at some examples of the 하다 verbs in the Korean language.
Yeah, everyone 같이 연습해요.
같이 연습해요. Let's practice together.
네.
And how?
Come to talktomeinkorean.com and leave us comment.
Or video responses.
Oh, wow.
We would love to see some of them.
네, 맞아요.
Okay, so we'll see you at talktomeinkorean.com, and if you have any comments or questions, please feel free to leave us comments or email us or Skype us or tweet us.
네, 좋아요.
See you soon.
좋아요.
안녕히 계세요.
안녕히 계세요.
감사합니다. 안녕히 계세요. Okay, let's finish up this lesson. Level 1, lesson 22. Verbs. Ata. In lesson 16, we learned how to make the dictionary form of a verb in the present tense. Ooh. NJ, Jijo. 현재, CJ. In lesson 17, we learned how to make the past tense 과거, CJ. Present tense, 현재 CJ, present tense, 현재 CJ, past tense, 과거 CJ. And we also learned that the verb 하다 has a very unique way of being conjugated. 하다, to do, 하다. Dictionary form, 하다. Present tense, 하요. Past tense, 하었어요. We also mentioned that the verb ada is a very powerful and useful word. That is because in Korean there are a lot of verbs that are made by combining a noun with ada. Many of the Korean nouns that indicate or describe some action or behavior can be combined with ada and they become verbs. Yawning means I'm exercising my lungs. Studying. 앙표하다. Sorry. 일, work. 일하다. 기억, memory. 기억하다. 청소, to clean, 청소, cooking, 우유, 요리를 해요 is cook. 경부, thank you, 경부. It's this bottom T looking thing, 경부. 요리, cooking dish. 요리하다, to cook. 요리하다, 불고기, to cook 불고기. Isa, moving. Isada, to move into a different house. No. Crap. Gong instead of kyong. Gong. Gongbu. Okay. Effort. Song. No. Let's see. Uyu is milk. U then you. 1 then 2. Nori. Norihada. 노래? 노래하다? May? Ure? Is it no? Is it yeah? 노래하다. There we go. No. No. 로. 노래하다. 노력. Is that 노력? 노력. Effort. 노력하다. 노력. 노력. 노력하다. 로. Oof, okay. Tong. She? Tongshi? Agreement, agreeing. Rayuk. No rayuk. Effort. Non ryuk. Admitting. Injong. Injong, admitting acknowledgement to admit. 인정하다. Regret. Ryo sound like in Japanese. Ryoso. Regret, to regret. Oyo, oyada. Uyu. Man, I'm getting confused so fast. Exercise. Ondo. To exercise, to work out. Where's the English translation here? Sarang. Saranghada. Words, language. Malada. To speak. Thought, idea. Sengsar. Sak. Thought, idea. Seisakada. Way. It's a funky one way. So I can read about 60% of Korean so far. Making negative sentences with ada verbs, or to make negative sentences using these ada verbs. Check out lesson 21 for more information. How to make negative sentences in Korean, which we did earlier. You need to separate the noun part and the ada part again and add an in between. Examples. 생삭하다, 생삭안나다. 노력하다, 노력안나다. And if you remember from lesson 16, there are two ways to make negative sentences in Korean. Adding an before the verb and using the verb ending chianta. If you want to use chianta with ada verbs, you simply conjugate ada to achianta. Achianta. Okay. Well, that does it for learning Korean today, because my head's about to explode. But thanks for joining me. I need to remember to do this once a day for at least an hour, and that's how I improve. It is such a daunting task to learn any language. Spanish took a while, but I was able to learn that and can speak that fluently in a conversational sense. Korean, using letters that are not from the English language whatsoever, makes it a little bit tougher. But being able to read all the symbols like that is going to help me immensely. And after that, you start memorizing verbs. And, well, of course, when you understand the rule sets of past, present, and future, and the verb tenses, and after that, you start memorizing verbs, and then you can speak in a basic form. And learning another language other than English has, I felt, unlocked a part of my brain that picks up language learning maybe a little bit faster than others. I don't know. Maybe I'm a superhuman. Maybe I should fight crime with my language skills. But thanks for watching. Stay tuned for next time.